they don't get paid a living wage. The only increases they've gotten in years and years is just the mandatory minimum wage goes up, and that's what they're getting. And they typically work more than typically work 50 hours a week and more, 50 or 60. It's like it's uncommon that they only work 40 hours a week.
Right. Yep.
So, and all that kind of stuff, and so like I was saying about interns, it's the same thing. It makes it really hard to compete, and it actually skews in favor of, I don't think it's designed this way, but it ends up favoring people who have money and privilege, already have resources, because okay, here I am. I'm a junior or senior, whatever. I have to work a real job because the internship doesn't pay. I have to go to school, and there's I have to study. I have to do schoolwork, and I have to work for you for free, right? And
many hours,
right? And so not only are you unrealistic qualifications for a job that I do for free.
Right.
Not only do you want that, you also want me to be available at your beck and call. You also want me to be available to work these insane hours as if this is my full-time job and I'm getting paid. You want me to work in places where parking is astronomical and you don't pay for my parking. It has to come out my budget as a student. Like it's insane. So who gets the best internships are people who already have money, people who can stay at home, people who only have to go to school and don't have to work. Who are that? Those are rich people. Those are rich people.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who, well, not the only ones, but for the most part, they're the only ones that can, or they're able to
really monetize and capitalize on those opportunities.
They're the only ones that can afford it.
They're able to, right. They're the only ones that can afford to give them everything that they're asking for to, like, after they do all this stuff to weed people out, the only ones that are left are people with money. Yeah. Because everybody else got to actually make a living.
Exactly.
And do all this other stuff. And it's just not fair and it's insane. And they should not be able to do that.
And you end up turning away some great candidates that way, too, because the person that just has the money can do it. They might just be doing just for something to do.
Yeah. Right. And you get
absolutely.
You end up doing this. Like what I ended up doing is I ended up doing my internship for PBS. Nobody wanted to do, PBS. Everybody wanted to do ESPN and those kind of stuff. I went to ESPN and some of those other places, and it was ridiculous, the hoops that they end up, they're like turning their nose up at me because I'm not like some expert in every single sport. I'm like, you realize you're not paying me to get you coffee and stuff. Like, I'm not actually going to do anything, real. Like, I know this and you know this, so why are you pretending like my knowledge of hockey is relevant?
Like, y'all going to come to me and ask me what this player's average was last year.
Exactly. Like,
no, y'all going to come to me and say, get some more paper in the copy machine.
Exactly. Get some more. Yeah. Wipe up the spill on aisle 2.
We need you to stuff these envelopes.
Right.
Get these mailers out.
So it's ridiculous that's even like part of it or whatever. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll just go. Now, when I went to PBS, I got a lot of hands-on experience that my counterparts, my colleagues didn't get. My classmates, they're at ESPN and these other places, but they're getting coffee, whatever. I'm actually working the camera. Yeah. I'm actually directing. I'm actually editing. I'm actually doing all this stuff, but I don't have ESPN on my resume when I'm done. So it doesn't translate the same as when you go looking for a job after graduation, but I actually got more real life experience than they did. Yeah. So that's how it is. That's how it was. That's how it worked. So,
and that's still not right.
What?
That's still
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. But I'm like you, Pip, when we were talking about the whole cheesecake thing, you kept saying, I would have been out. I wouldn't even did. Like, you didn't pledge, did you?
No.
Yeah,
well, I pledged a Christian fraternity.
Okay, but you didn't pledge Greek.
No, because I didn't want to get branded or I want to go through the hazing.
See, I didn't pledge either. And in our day, that's what it was.
It was
now it's different. Or they claim. I don't know how different it is, but the perception is that it's not like it was when we were.
I had my friends that were online that were rapping on my bedroom window at 2 a.m. I need an egg. What?
Yeah.
I need an egg. I need an egg. My big sis want some hard-boiled eggs. I need an egg.
Yeah. So I steered away from everything. I was never big on having to prove anything that required my initiation and hazing and proving my loyalty to you. I stayed. I was never gangs. You know, Greek frats, whatever. To me, was just like middle class gangs. You know, I basically the same dude who joins a gang. You know, put him in a different neighborhood and send him to college. He's the same dude that's going to join, you know, the Greek fraternity.
P.S. Dan Gold told me that from Manhattan to Brooklyn, where they had to walk, is about 5 miles.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Still.
That's a lot. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I've always steered away from anything that required that. So, you know, gangs, frats. I didn't join any frats. I was in some clubs and stuff in school, but, you know, they were different. They weren't, you know, they weren't Greek. They didn't involve hazing and stuff like that. And most of the ones I was part of, the ones that I started, you know, and I think that's what happened with me in the whole Hollywood thing, you know, because I didn't want to be an actor. I wanted to be behind the scenes. You know, I wanted to be like a director or an editor or something like that. And generally the way in is through like being a PA or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that just didn't sit with me, you know, being humiliated for God knows how many years on the off chance that you might meet the right person that give you a break. Mm-hmm. And you have to, you know, perform your ass off on that one break, and then you can get your foot in. You know, I was like, that's too many. Yeah, that's not for me. You know what I mean? Like I can't do it. I'm not that dude.
I ran into a lot of the same situations, just in my acting career. Not exactly doing assistant work or intern work, but I did a lot of background work. Just trying to build my chops, just trying to get familiar with how things operate, just trying to meet people and get the experience, and just to not be stagnant sitting at home. You want to go do something that's in your craft, that's in your field. And I did every single type of background work you can think of. I've clapped on over 100 some shows. I've done background on so many different movies and web series and all kind of stuff, just hundreds of stuff. So the downside of that is just like you said, Dino, the pay. They don't pay you anything. They pay you minimum wage, and they expect you to come with your whole closet. They expect you to come with hair and makeup. They expect you to be there and jump through these hoops. Sometimes they send you off for lunch and they don't pay you, or they don't provide lunch for you. You have to go away and come back, or sometimes you have to go here or there. They want you to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they want you to stay all the way until another time. And it's just no real accountability for, hey, we're real people and we're struggling. You know, we're not provided with the means to just be like, okay, well, we can just be here and do whatever you guys want and it's fine. Like, no, we got bills that we have to do and take care of, and we're actually working towards a goal. So,
well, that's how Hollywood is.
I hope that when they do that open revolt, they take into accountability all the low-level positions, and not all the low-level positions, not just the ones behind the scenes, because it's a lot of low-level positions all around.
I will say this, though, to give Hollywood their props. They definitely seem to be a lot more women involved in production, like behind the scenes type stuff that traditionally you would only see guys. Because, you know, us being in LA and me working downtown and just where I live, I'd say there's not a week that goes by that I don't see at least, you know, one camera crew somewhere. Mm-hmm. At least one. Like that's a slow week.
Oh yeah.
That's like, you know, minimum.
Yeah. I
usually see many, and I see so many more women like behind the scenes as gaffers and, you know,
it's getting better.
PAs,
different
writers.
Well, no, I'm mean physical stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking the sets. I'm talking about with the tool belts on and the carpenters and all that stuff.
I'm
talking about doing the work, you know.
Okay.
It's getting better. I have to say the majority of the ones I see are still white guys are the crew. Majority. But it's getting better.
Yeah.
It is getting better.
Yeah. So hopefully that this is the next thing. You know, they're saying that, you know, because of the success of Me Too, I guess they felt like the timing was right for this, you know. So hopefully it works out. It's needed.
Okay.
It's needed.
It is needed.
And not just that industry. Lots of industries they need to take a look at the way they do the interns and the the entry level people.
Yeah.
Just this very quickly. I do think you have to pay your dues. I do think you have to start lowly.
Yeah.
But
that's not what we're saying.
But where they're starting you from is too low.
Yeah. There's and don't get us wrong. Like there's a difference between paying dues and being abused.
Right.
Being somebody's whipping boy or girl. That's not paying dues. It has been in some industries, but it needs to stop. It shouldn't be. I
was a casting assistant, and I got the better end of it because my boss, who we're friends now, she took advantage of me, but I learned actually a lot from her. Mm-hmm. She always made sure I got a fair wage. Wasn't comparable to hers at all.
Of course not.
Especially when you think of the workload. Yeah. But I have to say I actually did learn from her.
That's important.
She didn't just give me jobs that I don't want to do that.
Shit jobs.
Do that. Yeah. I did everything. And there were times that I actually cast some television shows. Well, it was me. It was her name on it, but it was my work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then that's good, and that you recognize it because that not all of them do that because they were sending the complaints. One of them is that not only do they get treated very badly, but then there's very little mentoring going on.
Right.
So you were, like you said, very lucky. You were on the lucky end. There's.
Because I did see the other end of that. Some of our production assistants never worked on production or rarely worked on production. They were mostly running errands.
Gophers, going to get laundry and lunch and all that kind of stuff. And
picking kids up from school and stuff like that. What's that got to do with the show?
Yeah. And then they've even done stuff like in the article, they talked about how the PAs or the assistants or whatever would be in charge of the lunch. And a lot of times there's a lunch budget for whatever, wherever they're working. And if somebody goes over budget, they take it out of the lowest paid person in the whole place. They take it out of their budget.
Oh yeah.
Are you out of their not their budget? I'm sorry, because they get no budget for nothing. Out of their salary, out of their little bitty. Yeah. Not only do they get minimum wage, but they are strongly discouraged from putting in for overtime. They can't claim their overtime, so all their pay is just straight pay. Because they make it very clear in no uncertain terms that if you do that, you won't have a job. So that's that stuff. That kind of stuff is what we're talking about. Is way beyond paying dues. That's abusive. It's illegal. It's corrupt. It's wrong.
Very.
I did get that. I got a weekly rate no matter how many hours I worked.
Yeah, and that should be the standard.
Well, that was a problem because there was a time where I was an assistant for a television show, and I was doing a musical at night, and I was in my first costume, getting ready to go on stage, and the producer called me, wanting something. I had to answer.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is nah, that's no bueno.
This is 8:00 at night.
No bueno. No. Yeah, that makes it hard for somebody that's trying to hustle, trying to
and that's the whole point of us doing what we're doing.
And I'm doing the extra thing to actually fill in my pocket and fulfill me artistically.
Yep.
And they're like, nope, I own you.
Yeah. Yeah. For this measly wage.
Right.
And the attitude is if you don't like it, leave. We got somebody else to be in here tomorrow.
Oh yeah. When I was doing background work, it would be people that were not booked. They would just call the hotline, see where the show was at, and they would just show up. And if somebody didn't come or if they needed more people, then they would just go grab them from over there. They just go grab them. Didn't matter. You had on the wrong color. Whatever they felt like, any little thing. Oh, your shoelace, the tip is white, so we can't use you. All right, just bring somebody else from over there. It doesn't matter. It's crazy, but I hope it changes.
So we haven't had a story out of Florida in a minute.
Uh-oh.
But this one is out of Florida. We got... well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Arkansas,
which is almost like Florida.
Yeah, which is Florida West, Arkansas.
Okay.
Our Arkansas hunter is gored to death by deer he thought he had shot and killed.